Alright, the Hawk is back with a smack. We haven't done this series for a while, and I was truly loving it, but I'm not sure how the squad felt about it. Either way, we all need a bit of a catch up because it's been about 6 months. In fact, the Hawk was a complete dumbass, and I sat down watching for over an hour on the same TNA show that I'd already reviewed last time. It can't have been very memorable. Either way, I let the viewers decide who won last time, and TNA seemed to just about come out on top. The WWE truly demolished TNA in the Monday Night War of 2010, and some of the shows, unfortunately, went on autopilot once they won the war. WWE is running with the Nexus angle, and John Cena, who is talking about baloney and human jars of mayonnaise. He truly is at his most unbearable at this time. There just isn't much happening outside of the Nexus, and to a small degree the push of Evan Bourne. TNA have had a lot of angles, but the main ones are that Abyss has turned into a complete nutcase, and for the first time in years, he actually looks like a threat. He's just announced his retirement from wrestling, so thanks for your sacrifice, Chris. You know, Abyss. Sting got fired from TNA in storyline, and we've also got the start of the ECW invasion on the show. Let's head off to the second week of July 2010 and begin with the winner from last time, TNA Impact. Mr. Anderson in a steel chair will open the show. He quickly introduces his friend, Jeff Hardy. Jeff looks slightly heelish here. This is before his heel turn though. Anderson apologises for accidentally hitting Jeff with a steel chair on the last show. Jeff is pulling wacky faces. Anderson keeps saying it was an accident, and he says Jeff should be able to tell he's telling the truth because if it was deliberate, he'd brag about it because he's an asshole. He calls the crowd assholes, and they're all just loving this man right now. Mr. Anderson says he's going to face Jeff in a match tonight, and if he uses a steel chair again on him, he'll know it was deliberate. Jeff is just grinning like the Cheshire Cat here. Not sure if this was supposed to be a serious segment or not. A miserable AJ Styles is backstage. He's been basically relegated to jobber status at this point, losing all of his matches. He will have to face Frankie the Future Kazarian tonight to prove himself. Jeff Hardy is still unsure about Mr. Anderson. Kaz is out now for the opener facing Styles. AJ's pyro is stuck as the match begins. The crowd are still cheering for AJ even though he's been a heel for months. Kaz monkey flips Styles across the ring and also hits a hard-hitting dropkick into the corner for a 2. Ric Flair has arrived at ringside. AJ Styles throws a dropkick now, everyone is a bit hesitant. Styles tries a corner powerbomb but Kaz lands on his feet. Styles net breakers him instead. He hits a backbreaker with Lizard Flair not looking impressed. Kaz and AJ both trade finisher attempts but neither works. What does work though is a big backbreaker from Styles. The crowd really just want to cheer for AJ here. It doesn't help him as Kaz skips out of a suplex and hits a slingshot leg drop. It's AJ's turn to fly now but he misses but still hits the Pele kick. Not sure which way this one's going as Kaz counters his next move and hits a slight face jam on the ring apron. Earl Hebner is a dick and counts them both out. It's a draw. Kaz and AJ continue fighting but Ric Flair breaks it up and calls somebody in the crowd Fat Boy. He says Kaz and AJ are 2 of the best wrestlers in the world and need to stop dicking around. He says he's made a match for them at the pay-per-view where they will be forced to tag together. Flair calls somebody else Fat Boy and he leaves. A pretty good start to the show. Let's see what Raw is up to this week. Big Match Wiener will open the show as he often did around this time and the little kids go nuts. He complains that Sheamus isn't helping in the war against the Nexus. He isn't too upset though because Cena will soon get to take the belt back from Sheamus in a steel cage match at the pay-per-view. He says Sheamus has only been winning against him recently due to a combination of luck and the Nexus. Well, he isn't exactly lying about that. He calls Sheamus a human jar of mayonnaise yet again, just 2 weeks after the last time. Then Cena reveals that he's in a 7-on-1 handicap match tonight thanks to the anonymous Raw GM. But it's actually going to be a 6-on-1 because Darren Young has been dumped in his nappy of fear and doesn't want to face Cena tonight. The Nexus appear on the ramp. Barrett says they aren't here to beat up Cena because they will wait for the handicap match. It starts getting heated when a disgusting noise plays over the sound system. It's the anonymous GM. Michael Cole reads it. He says if any other wrestler gets involved in the handicap match tonight, they're going to get suspended for 90 days. And if the Nexus don't follow the tag rules tonight, they'll also get suspended for 90 days. Eve Torres will now join the commentary team. Another puke-related sound plays over the PA system. It's the Divas champion Alicia Fox and her horrible music. She'll be having a match against Gail Kim. Wow, I can't believe they're actually doing a singles match. Gail Kim is determined to prove herself with this little TV time she's got. Despite that, Alicia almost wins quickly with a knee to the noggin. We move to a sleeper hold 1 minute into the match. Unsurprisingly, it doesn't work and Gail hits a flapjack and a dropkick. Alicia stops the next move and snapmares her into the ring. She also reverses each defeat and throws Gail into the splits. Alicia Fox wins with a kick in about 2 minutes. Eve Torres considers fighting her when another disgraceful noise plays over the PA system. The anonymous GM has decided to award Eve another Divas title match at the pay-per-view. Can't wait for that one. Let's switch back to TNA. Back in TNA land, the very lovable Angelina Love is getting ready for her match. Then I had a power cut. Great timing. No idea what we missed there, but now Daphne is in the ring screaming. She takes on the very lovable Angelina Love. Daphne tries to start with an armbar, but she's quickly knocked away with some vicious knees. Angelina Love flattens her with clotheslines. The spinning heel kick doesn't look like it even connects, but it is what it is. Angelina with a couple of front slams now. The beauty mark ends the match in about 2 minutes without Daphne landing a single offensive move. Well, this match was offensive. And to be honest, not much difference between WWE and TNA's booking of the women at this point. Angelina has the mic. She says in 3 days at the pay-per-view she's going to beat Madison Rayne. That brings out the champ. She says Angelina has a cheap weave and she's going to chop it off. The career killer wants Angelina Love to put her career on the line at the pay-per-view. Angelina agrees, but only under the agreement that if Velvet or Lacey interfere, then Angelina will automatically become the champion. Ugh, I know what's coming. Talk about ratings drop. Devon Dudley is charging around in the back like a constipated bull. He's got something to say tonight. The men with mohawks and Devon Dudley now call out Bubba Ray. Devon is upset about his brother bullying Jesse Neal. Devon tells a story about Jesse's Navy past. He was blown up by terrorists and he lost his best friend, so Bubba should show him some damn respect. He demands to know what Bubba's problem is with Jesse Neal. Ray says he's the leader of the Team 3D team and he shouldn't have to take questions from Devon. He thinks Devon no longer has loyalty to their team. Devon refuses to pick a side in this war. Bubba Ray looks absolutely huge here. He says there's going to be a triple threat at the pay-per-view. Devon versus Bubba Ray versus Jesse Neal. Not sure where that leaves the Stoner friend. Back to Raw we go. The Fart Dynasty are making their way out. They're facing the Usos in a 6-man tag who are still looking very bland at this point. The titles will be on the line at the pay-per-view though. Tyson Kidd quickly dropkicks Jimmy out of the ring and hits a cannonball flip dive to both Usos. Tamina stops Tyson from springing into the ring. Natalya and Tamina have a cat fight. The Usos start cheating and Jey Uso beats Tyson Kidd with a simple splash. Yet again, the match only went a couple of minutes. I'm shocked at how overexposed the Usos are at this point in their career. They look so generic and boring. Fair play for toughing it out though. Wade Barrett meets with Chris Jericho. Barrett thanks Jericho for all his help in making his career. Barrett then runs into Yoshitatsu. Tatsu says Cena is his friend and he'll always stand up for him. Then he gets beaten down by all 6 of the Nexus. Ted DiBiase Jr. and Maurice are out now. These two did look great together, even if it didn't really work out. Ted says they're a $1 million couple and the most powerful couple in the WWE, but he isn't talking about Maurice, he's talking about he's going to win the Money in the Bank briefcase. He says when he wins, he's going to shower Maurice with gifts. John Morrison interrupts the promo. He laughs about showering Maurice with gifts as everybody knows that French people don't take showers. Would have been funny if Maurice was French, but she's Canadian. I mean, she's French-Canadian, but do French jokes apply to that? I don't bloody know. Morrison looks like he wants to fight Maurice and not DiBiase. A fight eventually starts. Morrison wins that fight with Maurice saving DiBiase. In the back, Santino Marella is given an apple pie by whoever this guest host is. There is fake piped-in laughter, and this segment is enough to make you want to tear your beak off. William Regal thinks this show sucks. He's annoyed that he doesn't get fake piped-in laughter. I have no idea what's going on. He's right, this show does suck. She teases a kiss with Santino. On that note, I'm happy to switch back to TNA. Back on TNA, the angry Samoa Joe is on his way out. He actually managed to beat AJ Styles last week, so it's not going as bad as usual for him. He faces No Job Rob RVD. The first ever meeting of these two, you'd think they'd want to save that for pay-per-view. The crowd are cheering Joe over Rob. We start with a striking battle and it's a stalemate until Rob catches a kick and hits the windmill kick. They both try their finishers straight away. Joe can't hit the muscle buster, so instead he powers Rob out of the ring onto the ramp. Joe also hits a tope out of the ring. As usual, the ECW legends want to watch the match. The crowd desperately chant EC-dub. Their presence seems to wake Rob up, who's now throwing kicks. Rob hits a backflip into a basement dropkick in the corner. He isn't done and connects the guillotine leg drop across the apron. That's a 2 count. Joe doesn't want another strike battle and instead he snaps off a power slam for a 2. Rob tries to get going again, but instead he has his head taken off. Now Rob does make his comeback with kicks and of course the Rolling Thunder. Pretty good TV match this one. Rob can only get a 2 count though. Rob comes back again with a flying thrust kick. Joe's eyes roll into the back of his head like he's pushing a dump out into his nappy. Samoa Joe hits a desperation clothesline for a double down. Back on their feet and Joe stops the monkey flip with a Uranagi and he gets a 2 off a powerbomb. Joe doesn't let off and switches into a Boston Crab. Van Dam makes the ropes. The move didn't exactly look painful anyway. Joe is now exhausted. He's visibly gasping for air. He does manage to lock in the Coquina clutch, but Rob just won't give up. He runs off the turnbuckles and pins Samoa Joe. Good match. Shame it couldn't have had a couple more minutes, but you'd do better to find much better for wrestling outside of a pay-per-view at this time. Joe contemplates his career as the world champion walks off. Joe snaps and gives a muscle buster to the ginger referee, who probably deserved it. Let's see if Raw can top that one. It has got to get better, surely. Michael Cole reveals that R-Truth has had to pull out of the Money in the Bank match, but his replacement will be named tonight. Well, randomly, we're now getting Edge versus Randy Orton. Not complaining, I just wasn't expecting it. Orton wins their opening exchange. Edge is then decapitated against the ropes and falls out of the ring. This is where the match turns, as Edge hits a big boot when Orton tries to come back in. Edge looks like he's about to turn crazy. He misses a stomp and Orton pulls off a snap slam out of nowhere. Edge desperately throws him out of the ring. Both guys look exhausted. Orton makes a weary comeback in the ring. For some reason he does another snap slam. Edge reverses his draping DDT and does an execution for a 2 count. He wants to hit the falling cuddle now, but the Viper punts him away. Both guys slip away from finishers. Orton almost rolls up Edge, but then he hits a cross backbreaker. Tell me, is it cross because Orton's always angry? Randomly, Jericho bounces down the ramp, which distracts Orton, and strangely, Edge wins with the Edge-O-Matic. Never seen Orton go down so easily. Jericho hits Edge with a codebreaker, but he's forgotten about Randy, who RKOs him. Evan Bourne takes out Orton, and he attempts the airborne, but Orton counters that with one of the best RKOs of all time. Honestly, I have never seen such a good one. That is up there with his best. The timing was perfection. Randy Orton gorms out as the segment ends. They will all be in the Money in the Bank match. In the back, Ryborg is slipping into a roid rage. He refuses to talk and barges into John Morrison. Morrison isn't scared of him, but he's quickly surrounded by more Nexus. Ryback punches him square in the gut. Bit better, back to the Hulk Hogan show. Back in TNA land, and Prime Angle is here to discuss how he's going to work his way through the heavyweight rankings to earn a title shot. Unrelated to that is Jeremy Buck versus Douglas Williams in a ladder/submission match. The Buck boy destroys Williams and hits a backflip out of the ring. He fetches a ladder, but that gives Williams time to recover. Williams puts him in the Tree of Woe and considers climbing, but takes too long. The Buck drop kicks him off the ladder. Williams isn't having a good time, and he crashes into the ladder and gets catapulted into it too. Doug tries to stop the Buck on the apron with a ladder, but instead he has his face jammed into the ladder. Williams does wake up in time to stop his climb, and he nails an electric chair drop. Doug Williams still seems too scared to climb the ladder. Again, the Buck boy wakes up and dives into the ladder where he hits a sunset flip powerbomb. That was pretty impressive. Once again, Jeremy Buck climbs and he kicks Williams away and wins the ladder match. It looks like Williams is in trouble at the pay-per-view then. He faces Brian Kendrick at that one and not the Buck boy. Pretty strange booking decision right here. Doug Williams throws a tantrum in the ring. A very funny segment is up next. The Motor City Machine Guns have made a warning for parents not to let their kids watch Beer Money, as they are bad role models and will turn you into an alcoholic scrub with no athleticism. Wish it had gone on longer. It was like the old days of these guys. Beer Money team up with Matt Morgan to take on the Motor City Machine Guns and Super Mex Hernandez. The Guns don't seem to be affected by their previous segment. They're not drunk and they're as athletic as ever. Matt Morgan tries to make sure Sabin is never athletic again with a big boot on the apron. Morgan stands on top of Sabin and stretches him out across the ropes. Eventually, Sabin hits a big kick and tags Hernandez. He's a hawk on fire. Matt Morgan dumps in his nappy of fear and runs away. Hernandez hits a big get off me on Bobby Roode. He also hits Air Mexico to Beer Money. Super Mex eventually misses Matt Morgan too much and chases him up the ramp. The Guns stop Storm from cheating with his beer. Shady dives on Roode with a crossbody, which he turns over for the 3. These two teams will meet for the belts at the pay-per-view. Fun wrestling on the show tonight. Let's switch back to Raw. The Miz is in the ring complaining about something. I think he was bragging about breaking the Truth's arm, but it sounded more like complaining for some reason. He says he will win the Money in the Bank ladder match before, as usual, an ear-splitting noise plays over the PA system. Michael Cole says The Miz will now face R-Truth's replacement in the Money in the Bank ladder match, and the replacement will be Mark Henry. This guy in the Money in the Bank again. Great. Miz swings a punch at him, but he's too weak, and Henry gorilla press slams The Miz. Comically on the outside, Mark Henry goes crashing into the podium. The Miz dumps trash all over him. The match just randomly ends? That was strange, not sure what happened. Oh no, the stupid guest host is out now with horrible theme music. She does a lot of old lady humour and will serve as the ring announcer for the next match, which will be an 8-man Brady Bunch tag team match. William Regal, Zack Ryder, Primo, and Doink the Clown. I believe Doink is being portrayed by Steve Lombardi here. What a horrible team this is. It doesn't get much better for the opponents. They face Santina Morella, Goldust, Carly, and Kozlov. Wow, I mean, talk about WWE being on autopilot here. This is the biggest jobber match I've ever seen. This is unbearable. Why is this happening? So much comedy on this show tonight. Regal is winning the match, but gets distracted by the guest host who's wearing his cape. Santino tunes up the Cobra. He hits Regal between the eyes for a 2 count. The match is broken down 30 seconds in. Doink the Clown fails against Santino and Carly lumps into the ring now. Doink shoots Carly with a water pistol. Carly responds by chopping him in the head, and thankfully it's over. Give me strength. I have no bias at this point, but this is another horrible episode of Raw. They were truly on autopilot. The guest host kisses Carly, and I am changing the damn channel. Back in TNA land, and the Pope is insulting Mr. Anderson. He blames Anderson for putting him out for months, but Pope has to take him out of his mind because he's scheduled to face Angle on pay-per-view. A weird segment now, where old man Kevin Nash is sat about moaning and wondering if he's still got a job in TNA. He talks about the past and how he saved Bischoff from having to run with the Dungeon of Doom on WCW telly. Sullivan, my son. Hogan walks in complaining about how Kevin Nash has tried to get Hall and X-Pac TNA contracts. Nash calls him a hypocrite and asks why Hogan gave the Nasty Boys TNA contracts. Something we'd all like to know. Hogan just dodges the question and says it didn't really work out. Hall and Pac have had too many chances though. In the ring, it's a very serious looking Jay Lethal. He was excited that he would be facing Flair on pay-per-view, but instead he's now angry about his little brother getting beaten up. He tells his mum that he loves her and he's going to get revenge for his brother. He starts to cry when the Nature Boy makes his way out. He says he doesn't care about Jay Lethal's mum. Flair's face swells up big and red like a tomato as he reminds Jay Lethal who he is. He says he's taken dumps who are more famous than Jay Lethal. He tells Lethal he's dressed like a homeless man. In 3 days he's going to destroy Jay Lethal. Lethal looks shocked that he's going to wrestle Ric Flair. How is this man Ric Flair still alive? He looked like he was on the verge of death in 2010. Here's yet another incredible promo in the storied feud between Ric Flair and Jay Lethal. I don't think Flair always gets the credit he deserves for his TNA run. Great hype for the pay-per-view and what would turn out to be Flair's best TNA match. Just the main event now. Mr. Anderson vs Jeff Hardy. Anderson hits an early spinning net breaker for a 2. Jeff jawbreakers him back and attacks him into the corner, but he can't hit a dropkick and he almost gets rolled up. Jeff comes back with a whisper in the wind, which looked more like a crazy dropkick. Hardy tries the twist of fate, but the asshole reverses it and does the Green Bay plunge for a 2. Anderson fails on the Kenton bomb attempt, and Jeff now can hit the twist of fate, and strangely that's enough to beat Anderson. Wow, that match felt very rushed. Hardy and Anderson smile at each other whilst the Monster Abyss storms out. The ref steals his stick, Janice. Despite that, Abyss destroys them both on his own. Abyss has his stick now and swings at Anderson but only catches the turnbuckle. Abyss says crap and desperately tries to free it. The World Heavyweight Champion has seen enough. He can't do anything to Abyss though. Mr. Anderson gets the steel chair. He teases hitting Hardy with it, but instead he hits Abyss. Rob takes the chair off Anderson and hits a Van Daminator to Abyss. These 4 will have a fatal 4-way at the pay-per-view. Taz desperately screams the monster isn't done, when comically, the show goes off the air. Classic TNA. I guess it's time to catch the last part of Raw. In the back, Edge is saying it wasn't that difficult to beat Randy Orton tonight. Yeah, he's got that right. Elsewhere, Evan Bourne is in a lot of pain and Sheamus is laughing at him. The Nexus walk up and start beating up Evan. Now he's feeling even worse. Sheamus returns to ask if he's learnt his lesson now. The Nexus return as Sheamus dumps in his nappy of fear and he runs away like a little girl. He keeps screaming, "Where's Cena? Help me!" Wow, this is the world champion? What a pussy. Whoever came up with this deserves a smack to the gut. Horrible, disgraceful writing. Fancy making your champion look like a complete joke. You've already got Cena on TV every week calling him a human jar of mayonnaise. This isn't helping. It gets worse because somehow the Nexus are teleported straight into the ring. The main event is a 6-on-1 between the Nexus and Big Match Wiener. It does go well for Cena to begin with. Each member of Nexus tries their luck, but Cena shows he can match any wrestling style. The Nexus collectively dump in their nappies of fear and regroup on the outside. This helps them as they cheap shot Cena. Heath Slater hits a back suplex, not once, not twice, but thrice, and it sure wasn't nice. John Cena shows that he still has some energy, but the numbers advantage gets the better of him again. David Otunga throws Cena with a suplex. Cena does manage to back suplex him back, and here comes Wade Barrett. Big Boy Barrett hits a big boy boot. Cena doesn't care about that, and he shoulder tackles and powerbombs him. John Cena then connects with a 5-knuckle shuffle, but he isn't done because Barrett gets an attitude adjustment. Somehow Ryborg got the tag during that and he hits a massive clothesline. Justin Gabriel then hits a 450 and shockingly, that's how the match ends. I can't believe Justin Gabriel pinned John Cena. The beatdown is about to continue, which is put to a stop by John Cena in a steel chair. They have Cena surrounded though, but then it's Sheamus to the rescue with a chair. That's how the show ends. Not good. That was the definition of autopilot. Nothing outside the Nexus stuff was remotely interesting and far too much bad comedy. But I know, as usual, that the WWE will knock it out the park at the pay-per-view whilst TNA will get crushed. Let's talk about the TNA Impact show. Overall, not really much to complain about. Every single pay-per-view match got hype and there was actually some decent wrestling on the show. Minus the Kevin Nash stuff, pretty much everything made sense and it was a very watchable show. And the pay-per-view will suck compared to Money in the Bank. You can bet your ass on it, and if you don't agree with that, I'll make you throw a fit.